Hello, it's Les here again. Today I'm going to talk about this FSA carbon seatpost, the SL-K, zero setback seatpost. It comes in this cardboard package here. Appears to be made in Taiwan. It also comes with this Di2 battery holder thing. Some instructions there for that. Some seat posts like grip compound, which almost looks like a condom packet, and some further instructions there. I've been using this seat post for about a week or 10 days or so, and I think it's pretty good. It hasn't creaked or anything. The main reason I got it is not for the weight, but the comfort. So, could I tell the difference if I was blindfolded? I would say definitely yes. You don't feel the bumps quite so much. There's this muted feeling going over little bumps, like where previously I would have to lift my weight off the seat, going over little curb bumps, this big. I can remain seated with this seat post, and just going over a couple of little potholes. I tend to avoid potholes anyway, but you can go over some little bumps and you don't feel it quite so much. Now I should say that I've been testing this seat post on a rather unusual Mrazek bike with a very laid back seat tube angle. It's probably 60 something degrees, so that's going to exaggerate the feeling of this seat post. Before, I always kind of had this feeling that the seat post, when I went over bumps, the seat would kind of pogo back and forth a little bit with an alloy seat post. So it tends to have stopped that. Well, it has stopped that. It feels damped. So when I'm going over bumps, it doesn't sort of wobble around like that. It just does it once or twice and then stops. So according to my scales, it weighs 215 grams, which is okay. But for example, back in the day, in the vintage era, I had a seat post, a Lightspeed titanium seat post, and I think that weighed 180 grams, and that was like 30 years ago. So it seems we haven't come that far after 30 years. So it's not my first carbon seat post that I've tried. I've had others from Deda and Use and ProLite and several other brands. What I'd say is, I think they could have made it lighter. Like, it's already good value for money. I paid about 120 Australian dollars for it, give or take. I can't remember exactly. And 215 gram seat post that's made of carbon, that's not a carbon wrapped alloy seat post. It's pretty good value for money. But I think with a bit of tweaking, they could get it to under 200 grams. And then it would be a real steal. They would probably sell a lot more. Well, they probably sell a lot already. But I think if they paid a bit more attention to the head, the seat post head, they could get it under 200 grams. It uses 2 Chromoly M5 bolts. To me, that's not really a feature. When something's made of Chromoly, I kind of look at it and go, oh, okay, I might have to replace those bolts later on. So that's not really a selling point for me. That's a negative, if anything. So other seat posts come with titanium hardware nowadays. So they could drop 5 grams there if they changed to titanium. I guess they have to distinguish this seat post, the SL-K version, from the K-Force upper top tier one. If you look at it close up, and I'm not going to take my seat off because if I've only got 39 followers as of today, it's just not worth it for me to... It's just not worth it. If I had 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 or whatever followers, then I would take my saddle off. But if you look at it up close, this part is actually quite thick. It's... well, it looks like a centimetre thick. I don't think it needs to be that thick. I think they could have made that more like 8 millimeters instead of 10. Then they would have, I've already worked it out, they would save 5 grams if they shaved 2 millimeters off that seat post head, another 5 grams on the hardware, and they could probably make the other upper clamps or the lower clamps a little bit lighter, or for example, you know, machine it a little bit. I'm sure they could do some machining work on that head a bit more, and then make 195 gram seat posts, and then it would be really, really good value for money then. But as it is, it's good. I'm going to keep it. I like it. I can definitely notice the difference. Even if I was blindfolded, I would instantly know whether I've got the carbon seat post or the alloy one. I'm certainly not saying I could notice the difference between different carbon seat posts. I'm not saying I could distinguish that. I don't think you can. I think for the money, it's very good value for money as it is already. The thing is, it's going to be a little bit difficult to change those bolts because they have a rounded, not a rounded head, but a rounded surface underneath the head that pivots. So they're not that easy to change. Anyway, I'm happy with it. I'm going to keep it. There's not really much else to say, but it seems to work for me. Now I'm probably going to have to get myself a carbon handlebar, a carbon fork on that bike to even things out a bit. So I haven't noticed any creaking or anything, so that's all it's got to do is just support your weight and be a little bit comfortable and not make any noises. So it's done that. The other thing I'll say is it does have the minimum insertion depth is 10 centimeters. I'll quickly show you the end of it there. That's how it looks at the end. This measuring thing on the back is quite thick. It kind of looks a bit too thick if you ask me. I think it's a bit too noticeable. It's like having a measuring tape sticking out your ass. Why would you want to... that shouldn't be really so noticeable, I think. They should have just had the markings, not a whole strip. But that's kind of nitpicking. I do like the graphics here. This is a raised surface. I think you can see that in the thumbnail image better. It's raised. It's a kind of a glossy finish. I think it looks good. I'm quite fussy with graphics, so I think that looks good. It says full speed ahead on the back. I'm not sure what this little code is. It's got a QR code on the actual. It's got a little QR code there. I might have to check out what that actually is. So yeah, that's about all. Unidirectional finish. I'm sure it's not unidirectional all the way through. Otherwise it would splinter, you know. But there's not much else to say about it really. I like it. I'm keeping it. I am getting a older model K-Force seat post on for one of my other bikes. but it's an older model. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Bye.